Hello everyone, this is Bhavik Chokshi here and I hope you guys are doing great. Today we would be having a short video on one of the more ignored topics, I would say, in your financial reporting. This is on integrated reporting. In your study material, you have a chapter which is around 20-22 sides where it's entirely theory and it is one of the few places where you don't have any Ind AS application. So what we'll do is we will quickly touch upon the important points. I'll share some notes. There are 4 questions in the study material. We'll discuss that, and 2 questions have come in the exam. We will discuss that as well. So you have an entire understanding of integrated reporting without going into not so necessary details from an exam perspective. So let's get started. Now, what is integrated reporting and what is the reasons why integrated reporting comes into existence? What are the principles, etc. So like Ind ASs are governed by International Accounting Standards Board (IASB). In a similar way, there is IIRC, which is the International Integrated Reporting Council, which has been formulated in 2010 and which governs the implementation of integrated reporting. Now, this is a body comprising of accountants, regulators, corporates, etc., which want to look at the future of financial reporting. So currently when we look at financial reporting, or rather reporting, we say that it is financial reporting. That means we look at our Schedule 3 balance sheet, the profit and loss account, etc. It's all numbers. It is, you are gauged based on the financial performance of your entity. Sir, तो अपन वही तो gauge करते हैं? No. The future is not just financial. It is your overall impact. How much value you create. So अगर integrated reporting में कुछ भी strike नहीं होता है, value creation लिख के आने का. Value creation is the essence. It is the heart of integrated reporting. You want to tell the reader on how much impact that you've created overall, and the impact can be created in one way by generating money, that is ROE, profits, capital, etc. But impact can also be created in the form of getting some really good patents and doing intellectual innovation, doing human or resources development, helping natural or environmental causes, society, output. A lot of factors contribute to value creation, a lot of non-financial factors as well. So we're not saying forget what we have studying. No, financial performance will be depicted, but along with that, non-financial performance should also be depicted. This is what sits at the heart, and even we strongly believe that this is the future of financial reporting. So you are now focusing on a much more wider value creation process, which focuses on the important words, financial as well as non-financial sources of capital. Now, what are the non-financial sources of capital and what are the financial? So basically you have to remember these are the 6 golden words that you have to remember. There are 6 capitals. One is financial capital. What is financial capital? Well, capital which involves let us say the net worth, net profit, all of these are financial capitals which you are very well accustomed with. Apart from that, manufacturing capital. So if you look at someone like Reliance, they will mention their physical assets, physical output, like how many barrels of oil that they have manufactured, how many minutes of telecom usage has been generated through their network, how many stores and consumer points. So all of these are manufacturing or actual physical output. Third is intellectual output. So how many patents have been registered, how many copyrights, how much intellectual innovation has been done can be suggested over here. Third is fourth is human capital. How much have you done for your employees, for your staff force? How much human development, how much on the job training, seminars or upskilling have you done for your employees is going to come in your overall human capital contribution. The 5th is social capital. 6th is natural capital. Social capital is what you've done for the local society, for your CSR, for the upliftment, like what Tata does, for example, when it runs a Tata Memorial Hospital for cancer patients, it treats them free of cost. This is social. And lastly, natural. What have you done for the purpose of, let us say, cleaning up your oceans, environmental development, water purification, etc. these are the things that you will depict, and again, you will not really depict them in a tabular Schedule 3 format. No, it is a principle based. An important thing that you need to remember is integrated reporting is considered to be principle based, so there will be no single format. You can actually, I mean, just for your reference, companies like Reliance, Infosys, etc., they as we speak prepare integrated reports. You can look at their report, not just the Schedule 3 balance sheet. You can look at the report before that, and it is prepared in a lot of, it's prepared with images, graphs, a lot of dynamic presentation, and not just slightly boring tabular ones. And hence the integrated reporting framework says that we are not going to suggest a particular format. We will give principles, and using that principles, entity can be innovative and it can present information in a way that readers can understand. So there is not going to be a rigid format in integrated reporting, and important principles. So the salient principles of integrated reporting over here, this is one of the, this had come in the May 2022 exam. So what are the 5 salient features of integrated reporting? So these are the 5 salient features in front of you. First is, it's a principle based format, so there's no rigid format. Second, it targets largely the private sector, but well, it can also be molded and used by the not-profit organizations, but is largely focused towards the private sector. Third, identifiable communication, which means you can make it as a standalone separate report, or it can be a part of a larger annual report, like almost all of the big Indian companies make it as a part of a larger standalone report where you clearly identify that this is an integrated report. Next, it will have financial as well as non-financial items. So basically the 6 forms of capital should be depicted over here. And lastly, value creation. As you said, this is the golden word. You want to showcase to the reader not just how much ROE, return on equity is generated, how much value is created over these 6 forms of capital. So 5 salient features. It's a principle based framework, targets largely the private sector. It is having an identifiable communication which can be standalone or as a part of a report. It has to depict financial as well as non-financial forms of capital, and lastly has to show how entity creates value. The 6 forms of capital, exam question has not come directly on this, but I would not be surprised if an exam question comes where they tell you to identify the 6 forms of capital, as we have spoken earlier as well. The financial capital, which speaks about the financial performance, net profit, net worth, etc. Manufacture capital, which looks at physical objects, etc. for the organization. Intellectual capital, organization or knowledge base, like patents, copyrights. People's competencies, skills, etc. is human capital. Social and relationship capital, the institutions and relationships for the society, the community, and largely renewable, non-renewable environmental resources, like we said, water purification, etc. These are the 6 capitals. Now, what are the guiding principles? So as we said, it's a principle based framework. So what are the guiding principles? You need to have a strategic focus when you're giving information. You just don't have to give information for the purpose of dumping out report. It has to have a strategic focus. There has to be a connectivity. So even if you look at Reliance reports, you will see that there is a connectivity between this, where they show that what is the inputs, what are the processes used, what is the outcome. So there has to be some connectivity. Stakeholder relationships have to be displaced. Materiality, consciousness, reliability, consistency, and comparability, etc. are the important principles that you need to remember. You can just refer this. I mean, you are experts, you have studied audit and a lot of other subjects. You can remember the points if they're given to you in a slightly compact way, and I'm sure you will. In terms of contents of an integrated report, you should first show the organizational overview and give details about the external environment. So you will give your board of directors, your organization structure, and the competitive landscape and external environment in which you operate. Second, the governance of the entity. And third, a very important business model. So this is something which is extremely important. You're not just dumping out and throwing a balance sheet. You're giving your entire business model on what are the processes that you are using. How are you using the inputs to actually make outputs and make a difference? So business model will have to be shown. Risks and opportunities, the threats that you are facing. Like if you are in let us say, Kodak, for example, would have displayed threats due to the introduction of digital photography. So these are the threats that the investors would be aware. Strategy and resource allocation. What are you doing? Where are you allocating resources? Such a beautiful प्रेजेंटेशन, बट अपने पास उतना पढ़ने का टाइम होना चाहिए. इतना बड़ा रिपोर्ट तो बना देंगे बट कोई पढ़ेगा नहीं, वो रद्दी में चले जाता है. परफॉर्मेंस टू द एक्सटेंट हाउ मच हैव द ऑब्जेक्टिव्स एक्चुअली बीन अचीव्ड, what you had planned. The future outlook will be given. What is your plan going forward? Your financial statements are typically not forward looking. In financial statements you give data about past, here you will also give the outlook, and the basis of preparation and presentation, like we follow accrual etc over there, should be shown over here. अच्छा, what is the Indian context? सर ये सब तो ठीक है, मैंडेटरी है कि नहीं वो बोला जाए. वेल, इन इंडिया सेबी हैज रेकमेंडेड, अपने आप सुनने का ही बंद कर दिया, बोला रेकमेंडेड हम नहीं करेंगे, नहीं वैसा नहीं है, लॉट ऑफ बिग कंपनीज डू इट. सेबी हैज रेकमेंडेड द टॉप 500 companies listed on the BSE to prepare integrated reports, and a large part of at least these big Sensex and Nifty companies, if you open Infosys, TCS, Reliance, all of them have been preparing integrated reports, not just for the past 1 or 2, but as far as I recollect, around 3 or 4 years they have been preparing. So SEBI in India, the requirement is voluntary, and it has voluntarily required the top 500 listed companies to prepare integrated report. Remember, the integrated report falls outside the scope of your auditor. So an auditor is not going to touch the integrated report. He is going to look at the financial report only, but for a broader presentation, an integrated report can be displayed. A lot of times, since IIRC is into a lot of countries, the implementation, so they've mentioned that a lot of times it happens that local authorities might have a requirement of a particular report, like India does not have, but local authorities may have a report where a large part of the 6 capitals presentation is governed, like in the US etc. A lot of stringent requirements are there, in which case you don't again need to prepare a separate report. So if your local requirements require presentation where you are kind of broadly giving all of this, even that can serve as an integrated report, it will work. Okay, so based on this, there are 4 questions in the study material. We'll quickly touch upon those, and the 2 exam questions that have come for 6 marks as well, we will touch upon that. If it comes, you should be getting this, and hence I'll just share these notes as well, so you can refer these. I mean, obviously there's a lot of detail in the study material, but if you have the time, you can refer the study material. If not, rather than leaving this, probably invest around 15 minutes here and probably glance through in another 10 or 15 minutes and be at least rest assured if an easy 6-mark question comes in. Okay, so state the categories defined in the international IR framework for capitals. Comment whether the organization have to follow them rigidly. Well, there are 6 forms of capital, as we have said: financial, manufacturing, intellectual, human, social, and natural. Do you have to follow this rigidly? Well, not necessarily. It's a principle-based framework, so it's not a rigid requirement. Second, can a not-for-profit organization do the integrated reporting as per the framework? The answer is yes. The framework is largely for private sector entities, but it can be molded for even not-for-profit organizations. Third, can an integrated reporting be done in compliance to requirements of the local laws to prepare a management commentary or other reports? Well, yes. So if the local laws are covering what the report as per the local law, if that is covering what an integrated report wants, you can very well use that as an integrated report as well. Does the integrated report need to be a standalone document? Not at all. It can be a separate standalone document. You can host it on your website separately as well. However, it can also be a part of a larger annual report or other document as well. I think those 2 questions from the exam have not been incorporated in this. The document that I will share on Telegram, I will ensure that those 2 documents are questions are incorporated. Let me just verify. Okay, I have these 2 exam questions here. I think they have not been incorporated in the file, but nevertheless we'll discuss this, no problem. First is the May 22 exam question that came for 6 marks. Again, these questions came where there was an option between the CSR question and an integrated reporting framework question. So you can kind of gauge. What is integrated reporting? Discuss any 5 salient features of integrated reporting framework. What is integrated reporting? Well, it is a reporting where you are focusing on value creation, focusing on financial as well as non-financial capital governed by IIRC, etc. The 5 salient features: it is a principle-based framework, there is identifiable communication, then you have financial as well as non-financial sources of capital. You want to focus and emphasize on value creation and largely focusing on the private sector, though it can also be used for not-for-profit organizations as well. So these are those 5 factors. Next question, this is the January 21 question, again for 6 marks. With respect to integrated, so there was no question in the middle, so that is why we have not kind of incorporated that. With respect to integrated reporting, state whether the following statements are true or false with reasons for your answer. An integrated report is necessarily to be a standalone report. False. It can be a part of an annual report as well. The framework of integrated reporting is written primarily for private companies. The answer is true. However, they can be adopted even by public companies. A report is prepared as required by a local law containing a management commentary or other reports that provide context for its financial information can serve the purpose of integrated reporting. Well, yes, it can serve. So, true. I think the answer is true. It can serve as long as sufficient information is displayed. And last, integrated report should include only positive matters. Well, definitely not. Risks, threats, etc. It can also be included, and hence negative matters can very well be covered. So these are the recent questions. I think there was one past question as well, which is similar, I think, regarding the salient features or capital. So other than that, I think we have covered everything which is relevant. I hope this video has been helpful, and I think these 15 minutes probably can help you in answering an integrated reporting question. And hopefully, if you have left this, maybe you feel a little more confident in handling an integrated reporting question. If that is the case, my job is done, and hopefully this video helps you. That's it then. I'll take your leave. Goodbye. Good luck. Take care.